This is larger than
It's
all
amazing.
Xbox, the whole Microsoft company
Yeah.
combined. Just yeah, I think that's good
Companies should
context.
die for that kind of business model,
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm always, Apple is, whenever I hear journalists, tech journalists, naysayers, Apple is doomed. Well,
The whole Microsoft.
it's doing pretty good to be doomed, but they still can't rest on their laurels. I understand they need to keep innovating, and you don't want to get lost in the shuffle of history. Uh, Apple's motor of revenue growth services continues to perform well in its post-inflationary period. For a while, services was growing explosively, but it's been kicking around at 10% growth for the last 3 years, and this quarter's 12% growth is right in line with that. Over the last 6 quarters, the growth's been exactly between 11% and 14%. It's not bad, especially when you consider it's got a 75% profit margin. And now to the ugly dog quarterly numbers. That's the wearables, home, and accessories. The category was once a fantastic mover, has fallen on some hard times. The 5% drop year over year is in line with the last 7 quarters, all of which showed revenue drops. And to be fair, it's been looking bad 11 of the past 12. Apple did claim that the Apple Watch reached an all-time high in its install base, which is great. And AirPods probably helped a bit. I've got 4 Apple Watches in my household. They
So
get money from me regularly.
something's going on in the accessory space though. Like if anybody shopped for an Apple branded phone case or an Apple branded watch band lately, you'll see that there's a dismal selection. They no longer even have leather or even fine woven for the Pro series. So it's really interesting. I don't know if they're retooling and going to come back strong, or if they're
I think
if
that
it's an exit strategy.
did they have some issues with the five fine woven one that
Yeah, they
didn't
did.
quite wear as nice as they had hoped. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. It's the worst I've seen it, and I don't know if
yeah,
this is some sort of exit strategy or they're getting ready to relaunch.
yeah. I've got about 3 dozen
The
Apple
word
Watch
beleaguered comes to mind again, but we know they're not. They got
bands.
tons of money.
All right. Along these lines of this from Mark Gurman on May 5th at Bloomberg, Apple has shown that it can navigate potential crisis with a certain degree of serenity, especially with under the guidance of CEO Tim Cook. But the company is now faced with several once-in-a-decade problems all at the same time. This threatens to put Cook and his team in their most challenging position yet. Here's 7 of them, and let me run them down here. The first is the fallout from the tariffs in the company's operations, product development, and device prices. Number 2, they've got a judge ruling that Apple must stop taking a commission on in-app purchases and subscriptions paid via the web. The third item is the threat of losing a roughly $20 billion a year deal with Google that made the search engine the default option on Apple's platforms. The fourth is Apple's ongoing struggles in artificial intelligence and the risk of falling further behind its tech peers, like Pete says. And number 5, a Department of Justice lawsuit against the iPhone maker for allegedly anti-competitive practices. Number 6, scrutiny into businesses in the European Union, South Korea, Japan, and elsewhere. And the 7th item is finally there's some sluggish sales in China. It was a former growth market for them where local brands are making gains on the iPhone there. In the near term, the biggest threat to the company is the tariffs. Cook has said during an earnings call that Apple could incur costs of $900 million in the current quarter due to the issue. Needless to say, this is a challenging time for Tim and Apple, and that's why they pay him the big bucks. There's been a development in the intersection of AI and the Apple pedigree. Um, uh, Johnny Ive, Apple's former chief design officer, has joined Sam Altman and OpenAI through the acquisition of its AI hardware startup called IO in a $6.5 billion all stock deal. This move brings Ive and several ex-Apple designers into OpenAI's fold, aiming to develop a new category of AI-driven devices that they hope could redefine personal computing. The envisioned product is described as a, quote, third core device, unquote. It's neither a smartphone nor a laptop and designed to complement existing devices while offering a more ambient and screen-less interaction with technology. This collaboration signifies OpenAI's ambition to integrate AI more seamlessly into daily life, potentially challenging Apple's hardware dominance. Personally, until I see a product, it's vaporware. We'll see. High aspirations. Next up, Apple's preparing to modernize the appearance of the operating systems with a new user interface codenamed Solarium. It's set to be introduced at WWDC 25. Solarium is expected to include a unified cohesive design language across platforms. That includes iOS 19, iPadOS 19, macOS 16, watchOS 12, tvOS 19. This initiative aims to provide a consistent user experience across all Apple devices. The new interface draws inspiration from the Vision OS aesthetics, featuring elements like frosted glass effects, floating UI components, and rounded icons. These changes are expected to modernize the look and feel of Apple's operating systems. Beyond the visual updates, Apple's is anticipated to introduce functional improvements such as repositioned search bars for easier access, translucent control panels, and enhanced navigational elements to streamline user interactions. WWDC 2025 will also spotlight advancements in Apple's AI capabilities, hopefully. Expected features include smarter battery optimization and a virtual health assistant. This came out this afternoon, along with modernizing its look. This is from Bloomberg. Apple's planning a major rebounding of its operating systems, moving to a unified version, aiming a naming scheme. That would be iOS 26, macOS 26, watchOS 26, and so on. That starts next year. Although the operating systems will launch in September 2025, they'll be named for 2026, excuse me. This shift aligns all platform versions to the same number, streamlining updates and messaging across Apple's ecosystem. The new strategy is expected to be announced at WWDC 2025. Sounds like a great idea to help avoid confusion. And finally tonight, an email advising you that you are a potential member of the settlement class based on Apple's records regarding a, quote, Lopez voice assistant class action settlement, unquote. Well, it's legit. Apple has agreed to a $95 million settlement in a class action lawsuit alleging that its Siri voice assistant improperly recorded users' private conversations without prompting. The lawsuit, Lopez versus Apple, was filed in 2021 and accused a company of unintentionally activating Siri and sharing recorded conversations with third parties, which allegedly led to targeted advertising. Although Apple denies any wrongdoing, it's decided to settle. Eligible consumers who purchase Siri-enabled Apple devices between September 17th, 2014 and December 31st of 2024 will receive up to $100 in compensation, capped at $20 per device for 5 devices.
Now we know why you have 4 Apple Watches in your house there, Al. You were trying to maximize your result on your settlement. I get it.
Boy, I've got so many things. Oh my
well, I always call MacNexus the 12-step program for Apple.
It is. To receive the compensation, excuse me, users must submit a claim through the official settlement website. That's LopezVoiceAssistantSettlement.com. Oh, great. By July 2nd, 2025. So you got about a month. The claim process requires proof of purchase or device details and a preferred payment method. Eligible devices includes iPhones, iPads, Apple Watches, MacBooks, iMacs, HomePods, iPad touches, and Apple TVs. So probably when everybody in this group is going to get their $100, they get in there and all the links tonight generated will be distributed in a PDF by hopefully Mr. Bob White in his normal MacNexus email blast. I will post it sooner on our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is a great forum for late-breaking curated Apple and tech news and support. We encourage everyone to come and check us out. And of course, as I said earlier, a little reminder, we are planning a MacNexus social get-together lunch at the Limelight Cafe and Bar, June 12th at 11:30 a.m. Please RSVP by June 9th with the number in your group. And you can see what the address is, 1014 Alhambra Boulevard in Sacramento. And parking across the street and Safeway parking lots, it's not bad. It's plenty over there. And back to you, Ken and Pete.
All right. Well, Al, the link master, Al, I'm sure all of those links will be in the
Yep.
in the blast, and they'll be in the chat and then in the blast. And
In the blast.
Al does a great job putting all that together, and he's also great about making sure that that gets into the Facebook group. So before we move on, and I'm so happy that I get to finally attend a meeting that Pete's doing here, and it's rare. And but we kind of left out. Is there any questions, general questions from the audience before we get in with Pete? Because we definitely want to give Pete all the time we can because he uses it with great aplomb and gets so much into it that.
Yeah,
Not to dissuade you from questions. Randy, you got one? Go
one
for
quick question, Al. I didn't see anything. Is there anything new about AirPods Pro?
I know that there's AirPods 3 at some point is gonna be forthcoming, and as far as I'm thinking off the top of my head,
I think we just got a refresh last holiday.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we just got a refresh. So probably
This-
not this year, but next holiday I would expect
there's a
something.
whole scuttlebutt, and I'm sure in their labs are doing all kinds of stuff about. Been reading things about they're thinking about putting some kind of camera in your earbuds just to so it knows a little bit of feedback about where you're at and what you're doing. Probably not uber high resolution with that size form factor, but assuming that they square away their AI stuff, it may be able to give you some, feedback if you're disabled about what you're seeing, where you're at and things of that nature. It's just in the rumor mill. I'm sure they check out, they examine a lot of options in their labs, and some of it doesn't see the light of day, but sometimes a pure research is worth it. And
One big rumor that was a couple months ago was live translation for different languages, and I really think that obviously could even go into the new one, but if it leverages through the phone, but again, I think that all goes back to the whole AI thing, and
yeah.
they've got a lot to do on that. So
There's lots of rumors, of course, that they are working on a set of glasses, kind of like the Meta Ray-Bans, but with the Apple take on it, and who knows what that can include. Again, they have to sort out how they're going to implement an AI interface, and anything they bring out at this stage probably would rely on some of the processing power of a nearby phone or something. But we'll see. We'll see.
Berta, go ahead. You need to unmute yourself, please.
Hi, this is Bertie. I can't find at the bottom of our screen where you raise your hand originally. I don't know.
Sometimes you have to tap for the interface to come and go. Sometimes it needs a tap to bring your, if you're using a touchscreen, to bring your interface back.
Oh, I'm on my MacBook Pro.
Yeah, then maybe moving your mouse
changed
cursor.
it because I just looked. It was under React, but I don't see
I
it.
think it's under React.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I won't raise my hand now. But anyway, I have a logistical question. You had mentioned a get together at the Limelighter. What was that posted in the blast? And
It
if so,
will be in the
It will
upcoming
be.
blast.
oh, it's not yet posted because it's the
No.
first time
No,
I've
this
heard.
we are the first to know.
That's good. Thank you. Okay, that's
In-
it.
in-
Oh, there was one more thing. Um, my iPad has new instructions about the changes that they've done with iPhotos and how to arrange the orders of your pictures. I looked at it far late last night, and I was a bit overwhelmed. So at some future meeting, could you please review the newest in the iPhoto features?
Well, either that, we'll just say that was a dream you were having. It didn't really happen.
No. No, it was under tips on the I think on your
Yeah.
iPad. Yeah, a lot of information. I was too tired to
Yeah.
look through. Thank you.
And then Elaine has a question, and then we'll grab Pete. So go ahead,
Yes.
Elaine.
So, Ken, you've talked in the past about these cameras that you have in some of your rooms or pointed outside to see, who might be. Is there an update on those cameras? Are they still as good now as they were? Are there more that have come on the market um, that one can, look on their phone on your phone and see who's in your yard or who's in your house if you're not there?
Absolutely, and I bet Pete's going to be newer and better on that than me. But remember, on all of these, you have to weigh your security and your privacy versus that. And actually, Apple Home stuff has improved dramatically in that regard. But it's always a give and take on that. But yeah, it's good. Go for it, Pete, because I know he's got the latest and the greatest, probably.
Well, I really love what Eufy is doing. This company EUFY is how you spell it. EUFY. It's a subdivision of the company Anchor, who makes chargers and stuff like that. And Eufy has done a lot of great things for home camera security, as of many other companies. So they're not the only ones. But like Ken said, my first criteria for choosing any camera is if it has the HomeKit logo on the box. If it is compatible with Apple's HomeKit, that's the first gate that I have to get through. If it's not, I don't even look at the camera at all. And then once I know that it's HomeKit compatible, I'll look into it a little further. Eufy has a format for everything: outdoor pouring rain areas, indoor quiet, discrete areas. I bought one this year, as a matter of fact, that you just simply stick to your exterior wall. It's rectangular. It has a light motion sensor light built in. So if people walk by, it turns on. And then there's a tiny discrete camera in there that's charged by solar power. So I don't even ever worry about the battery or wiring. I'm so delighted with it. It was under $100. I'll put the link in the chat here for that particular camera. But I would advise your number one gate should be whether or not it's HomeKit compatible. And then from there, I really like what the Eufy lineup has done for simplicity and ease of use. So yeah, that's yes. The answer is they have come a long way, and I think Eufy's really leading out on the HomeKit compatibility cameras.
And Pete, touch on subscriptions too, because that's a factor on cameras.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a rabbit hole, really, because if you think about it, every camera manufacturer wants more from you than just the purchase of the camera. And if they market to you enough, they can get it, right? They can get more from you. If they say, oh, we'll monitor this camera, or we'll give you safety features, or we'll notify you with a subscription. There may be differing opinions on this call, but I avoid any offering from any company. Nothing. I refuse every offer because Apple's HomeKit is enough for me, and I would argue with you too that it is enough for you. If you have a good argument for me, I'll listen. But I believe that just your iCloud storage, which does provide for 10 full days of video review from these cameras, your existing iCloud account, you don't even need to plus it up any, but your existing iCloud account will give you 10 full days of video buffering from these cameras. So basically, anything that's happened within the last 10 days, you can go into the camera's history, you can pull up that incident that was recorded and then download it to your phone. And you have 10 days to do that. And that's free with HomeKit. So yes, for that question, which is very astute, whoever brought that up, thank you. Refuse every subscription that they try to get you. Subscriptions for cameras are like Norton antivirus used to be back in the day. It's just an opportunistic play to get more money from you. The other thing too is that if you use cameras that are not HomeKit compatible, then whatever company that is, Eufy, which is based in China, but there are other companies that are based all over the world. If you don't use a HomeKit compatible camera, then your video feed goes through their servers first and then to you, their servers first. So they have the right to look through all your video feeds. I know there's a privacy policy that says they won't, but you got to remember all video from inside your home will run through their servers. With Apple's HomeKit, they will not. Apple keeps your video in your network and does not allow it to leave. I'd love to do a whole class on that. Check it out. September, I think I'm going to do an Empower Month in September and litter the calendar with classes and host a bunch of classes in September. Security, home security, and home automation will definitely be one of them. It's one of my favorite topics. But I do think that is something we should talk more about.
Apple is
just to clear that up a little bit too. So, and again, the HomeKit, and that's why I wanted Pete to chime in on subscriptions. But it's on there on your cloud for 10 days. But once you download it, you have that. And so if an incident happens, you can download it to your phone, and then it essentially lives in your library, and you have that. So it's only the stored, think of like of DVR that's doing this constant 10-day recording on there. And as long as you grab it sometime in there, you then have that actual space of time.
There's also an evolving story with Apple's releasing this thing called Home OS, and that'll impact home automation things, cameras, and things of that nature. I think some of this stuff will be revealed at the WWDC 2025 here.
Hey, have Tim Cook throw in a new Apple TV for me, will you?
Wouldn't
It's
that be
been
great?
too
Yeah.
long.
I'm in.
It's been way too long.
Where do I send the money?
Hey, Pete, one thing, if you could just give a couple seconds about Matter.
Yeah. Matter is a networking protocol that doesn't rely on your hardware, really. It relies on Matter certified hardware. So I guess a way to describe Matter would be just a private network within a network where devices can rely on each other for real-time information about the network and about commands going through the network. I have
and it's HomeKit home compatible, right?
Yeah, the Matter license that HomeKit did, they have the Matter license. And so I have several devices that are in HomeKit that say Matter device on them. I suspect there's some improvement. However, I still have Matter devices that will not work at all because they're not compatible with anything but a 2.4 gigahertz network. So it's sort of like if we don't get some of these fundamentals right, we'll never even have a flourishing Matter ecosystem just because there's still devices out there that are not compatible with anything but 2.4 gigahertz network. So it's still very messy, especially in the Matter space. Some manufacturers are leaning into it and some aren't. But it is an optimistic property that who knows, maybe someday that'll take some of the kinks out of networking devices. The Internet of Things, the IoT.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Pete Lozzi, and there was don't bury the lead here. Empower September. That's intriguing, Pete, and I'm all for it. I'll be in somewhere in the world. I'm doing around the world by then, but God, that's great. Awesome.
Yeah, I'd really like, it's been something I've been working on the whole time. Ever since I stopped doing live in-person things, I thought there's got to be a way for me to build something, a property that we can do this online more often. Because I really like hanging with you folks, and I don't get tons of opportunities to do that. But every time we do, we talk about we got to do this and we got to do that. So I'm just looking for a month on the calendar that I can flood with a dozen, 2 dozen classes or something, and then just offer them to whoever's interested. So really hoping that it comes to fruition. Oh, you might hear a helicopter. Look, I'm in Las Vegas. There's there's the Vegas Strip right out there.
Sweet.
Quick
There.
little father-daughter graduation trip. I've got one that just graduated high school and turned 18, so we came out here to see a show and have some fun.
Great. Hey,
Nice.
one thing quickly. I was able to get the live recording going, so it'll be on the regular MacNexus on YouTube there, and I'm still continuing with the on-site, just so you guys know. So it'll be in the regular spot. It was some glitch in YouTube, so thank you. So without further ado, Pete Lozzi, actually from Vegas, so he's actually in our time zone for a
Yeah,
change, which
yes,
is
for once.
really good.
Yes.
And thank you. And gosh, interrupting your father-daughter trip, and I mean that's precious. Thank you.
Well, I committed this to Mary, I think months long before this trip was planned. So I wanted to
Yeah,
make
because
sure.
I was supposed to be in Monument Valley right now, but I'm
Oh,
not.
oh, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew it was something. Well, and this is an exciting topic, this AI. I'm really excited to have a chat about this. Looking forward to it. What I might do, if it's okay with you, is I will share my screen here in a second, but I'd first just like to have a discussion about AI. I'm really curious to know, what are you guys doing out there with it? It's probably talked about a lot. And I'd love to hear a quick update on what the theme of most conversations are about with AI. What are you guys talking about? How do you frame it up? Are people using it? And anybody can answer. Just curious to hear. Also, one more thing, Ken or Al, I may have to be made a host in order to share my screen later. So just throwing that out there.
I'll do it
But
right now.
alrighty, I'm going to put the chat on here too and watch that. But what's going on with AI here at MacNexus? What are we talking about? What are we what are we? What's our use case here? I'm just curious to dive in. I don't want to repeat a bunch of stuff if something's being talked about ad nauseum, but I also don't want to leave anything out. So yeah, I'd just love to get up to speed on who's using it. What do you think?
I've been
Is it
using.
a party trick?
Yeah, I mean, it started out seeming to be just an enhanced version of Google search to me, but no, I mean, it's so much deeper than that. Trips that I'm planning to be able, like we've had an issue with this 1953 MG, and it goes through and if I use deep search, it goes to 50 something websites and then collates that information for me. And what would have taken 3 hours is done in 3 minutes, and it'll capsulize it, and then I can expand out if I want. It's such a huge time saver in that regard. And hallucinations aside, it really, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I think we're only seeing the beginning. There's so much other stuff. Well, full self-driving in the car that I use every day is based on AI, and they machine learned what people were doing in cars and took out 300,000 lines of code. So, and that is flawless at this point. I can go from here to Yosemite with one non-critical intervention. So, Randy's got his hand up.
And are you still going to drop your Tesla off at my house when you're traveling abroad? I'll still babysit it for you if you. Okay,
Well, actually,
Randy,
though, Pete,
please.
in the near future, it will drive itself to Georgia and
Okay,
let you use it there. I
send
mean,
it over.
that's so I guess I should shut up because you're going to call me on this, and then
Yes.
they can.
Ken, what time will the Tesla arrive?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh, Pete, it's Randy. Just to answer your question, how am I using AI? I think I am just scratching the surface, a true novice. I come here to learn and explore and learn how to use it better, to scratch the surface. When I do a search on the iPhone, it'll light up around the edges and say, "Do you want to use AI?" I just always say yes or tap, "Yeah, use AI." And that's the extent. I really don't notice any difference other than it will give me maybe a definition, but I would so like to use like what Ken's doing, like for trip planning. I'm planning on maybe end of year go to that Epic Universe, Orlando Universal, and I would love to do that, but see, my lack of knowledge about AI is, oh, it only tracks 3 years ago, nothing current. And this thing, Universal, just opened up this month, May 22nd. So I need to learn the realities of how current can I ask a question and do some trip planning like you and Ken and the rest of the club knows how to do. I'm just lost.
You hit a couple nails on the head there. Love listening to that. Thank you for sharing that. The biggest thing you said that cannot be overstated is understanding it, just knowing what it's doing and why it's doing it. I don't want that. I don't want you to think that it's important that you dig in and understand all the tenets of AI, but it will really help you be a better prompt maker if you understand a little bit about what's going on. For me, that's been the journey, is that at first I watched people and their reactions to AI, and I was trying to figure it out for myself, but I really like to watch how other people consume technology. And I have two very high-powered executive sisters who came for a visit, and I watched them show off what they knew about AI. One of them said, "Watch, this can write a letter to a tenant telling the tenant that they have 30 days to vacate or something." And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And I did some of it myself. And so far, I was really looking for the meat on the bone. I think the party trick of writing a letter as though you were a landlord and you have a tenant, or rewriting your cover letter for your resume and stuff, I think that's all very cool. But for me, it wasn't a compelling enough reason to dive in and figure out what AI is all about. But I did. I fully immersed myself in AI, both at work and personally. And I learned a ton. I learned a ton about, really, my learning was more based on what AI isn't. I'm really on a quest to figure out what AI isn't, because it is a lot of things. I want to show you some. And my perspective here today is to encourage you to use it in ways that I believe will strengthen you. Cut through the party tricks. I don't care if it can reword stuff cleverly. I want it to do things that multiplies my thinking. Grocery lists are cool, but can you multiply my thinking? Can you take what I'm prompting you to do and make it exponentially bigger? So let's just talk about AI from the beginning. I want to really simplify this because there is an interesting path here that I'd like you to follow if you can, and I think it'll stay pretty simple. I will indeed oversimplify some things, so don't call me out if I oversimplify. But AI has been around since the beginning of time. Some people contend that it was a computer back in the day or whatever. It's been around since the beginning of time. I mean, AI can be something as simple as, if I remove a piece of wood from the firewood stack, another one comes down and goes into its place. It's like setting things up to do things or think a certain way. AI has been around forever. The first video game, Pong, you had to tell the computer, don't let this ball get past you, so move your paddle to bounce the ball back to the opponent. That was AI. Artificial intelligence is just a series of tasks. That's all AI is like bundling tasks and giving them to somebody else to do. Why, though, now in 2025 are we seeing all of these AI properties and we're looking at all these AI utilities that are being offered to us? Why is it now when AI has been around since forever? Well, we've finally have technology that can keep up with what AI is doing. AI is making multiple calculations that are tiny, tiny, tiny calculations. It's making millions, billions, trillions, and sometimes even more than that per second. In fact, there's a new measurement in technology. You know, I'm with HP as my day job, and we sell a lot of AI enabled PCs. And there's a new language called TOPS, TOPS. This is a new measurement of speed when it comes to AI, because AI does so many tiny calculations in a short time that you need processors that can lift that much weight. And up until now, we haven't had them. There have not been processors that can lift the sheer amount of weight to do all of the tiny complicated computations that AI needs for the right outcome. So these large language models are the first time that we humans can interface with AI in a way where we can use our language, English in our case, but other countries is different. We can use our language to access all of that computational power. This is why they call it an LLM, or a large language model. So just to recap, the cleverness of AI has been with us since the beginning of time. People have often programmed AI type of features into things like even Pong back in the 70s or 60s. But now we've reached a point where we can not only make it accessible by language, which is breathtaking if you think about it. You've got to tell a product how to understand English. And then you've got to tell that product what to do with the English it's receiving. That in itself takes billions and trillions of tiny calculations every second. And so now that we have the technology that can keep up with that, I think we're in trouble. I think it won't be long before AI is in the wrong hands. It's really just like the movies, if you think about it. If you really want to get rattled, go on YouTube and Google Boston Dynamics and watch as gymnastics capable robots are jumping and swinging from structures. All they have to do is programmed with AI and say, go get the people, and they will. So I'm just waiting for that day. I'm kind of excited, actually, when the robot army comes. But now that we're in a place where all of these computations can take place almost instantly, because we've got this hardware, the silicon, companies are starting to monetize this now. Now, AI has always been licensable and monetizable. Take a video game company like EA Sports. They make a game called John Madden Football. John Madden Football has been a institution for EA Sports for, I don't know, 30 years. I used to play it in my teens, I think, 20, 15, 16 years old. I think I've been playing John Madden Football. There's been AI in John Madden Football for 30 years, and it's been paid for by EA, and it's a company that does the AI, and they do it for the football game. Now that large language models exist and human beings can speak to AI, there are engines being built by companies. And we'll just use two of them for this example. There are more, and Al pasted them in the chat I saw a little bit earlier. But let's just talk about what companies are doing to monetize AI and how they are competing for your dollars. So take large language models. The idea is now that human beings can access AI through language, let's charge them to do it. So you have companies like ChatGPT, just like we had companies like Google back in the day. Google did not create search. However, they cornered the search market by branding it, right? Google has now become a verb, right? You Google something. Google branded it, and they had a strategy and a business model. And now basically Google owns search. There are alternatives out there, but Google will forever own search. They have cornered that end of the market. And so now the same revolution is happening with AI. Companies like OpenAI and xAI, right? OpenAI is their own company. xAI is their own company. xAI is Elon Musk's version of AI. OpenAI is something Elon Musk was involved in early on, but then left. And the OpenAI folks are still building that AI engine. So there's one competition right there. You've got OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, and you've got xAI, Elon's, which is Grok. Grok is the name of Elon's XAI large language model, Grok. So you have ChatGPT and Grok, just for the sake of this example, because there's more, but they're competing with each other. Grok Premium is $50 a month and ChatGPT Premium is $20 a month. So they want those dollars. So in order to do that, they're making AI more useful for people. They're making it expand to do more things, and they're competing for your dollars. They're saying, hey, I'm ChatGPT, I can do this for you. And Grok is saying, well, I'm Grok and I can do this for you. But they all want you to pay for the premium. Now, it was my recommendation the last time I came here that you simply use Microsoft's Copilot for AI. Copilot is an app you can download. It is free with a Microsoft account. You just have to have a Microsoft account. And you can use AI in that app. And it did a lot of what I thought a consumer might want to do with AI. It'll generate images, it'll rewrite letters for you, it'll do all that stuff. And it's free with a Microsoft account. So that's Copilot again. And if you, if after this you would like to pursue a free Microsoft account and use Copilot, I would recommend that. Al, I'm not sure if you can put a link in the chat to going and getting a Copilot and Microsoft account, but that is a very simple entry into AI. It's free, and you can do the things like ask it to do things for you and create images and this type of thing. So right there, I've sort of invoked and discussed 3 different AI products. I've discussed Microsoft's Copilot, which is just a branding play on AI. It's Microsoft's licensing of AI. It's called Copilot. You've got X, formerly known as Twitter. They're creating XAI, and their large language model is Grok. And then you've got OpenAI, which has ChatGPT. So you as the customer, you now have 3 choices. You have Grok, ChatGPT, and Copilot, among others. Al pasted some other competitors in the chat there, but I would say for all beginner intents and purposes, consider 3 AI options on the market: Copilot, ChatGPT, or Grok. So now that just take a deep breath. Now that we've realized, okay, AI has been around forever, we now have the technology to apply a large language model to it. So companies are scrambling to figure out how to make that profitable. And then that's where we come in. We have to say, well, do we want to pay for AI? First of all, 90% of you are probably like, no, I don't want to pay for AI. I've begun paying for AI, and I've begun using it in such a way that I now find indispensable. I'd rather get rid of my cable TV than stop paying for my AI, because I've figured out how to use it. I figured out to get past the party tricks and really make it do the things that I need it to do and multiply my thinking for me, or cut my thinking in a fraction so I can get to where I'm going faster. Let's talk about those 3 properties here for a moment. We're talking about Microsoft's Copilot. We're talking about XAI's Grok, and we're talking about OpenAI's ChatGPT. Those are the 3 products we're talking about. Conspicuously absent on that landscape is Apple, because, well, aren't they a juggernaut like Microsoft? Shouldn't they be on that landscape with their own AI? Well, they tried, and that was the swing and a miss. Last year at WWDC, they showed the promise of AI integrated into iOS. They called it Apple Intelligence, or Apple's AI, Apple Intelligence. And they made an attempt at implementing it into the iOS. It was an unmitigated disaster. It still is. There's been no improvement. The property is completely broken, in my opinion. So that was nothing but harm to you, because you were trying to figure out AI. Apple slapped an AI paint job on iOS, told you that it was AI, and all you had this past year was frustration trying to access AI from your iPhone. It's not even possible unless you use a third party like ChatGPT, Grok, or Microsoft's Copilot. So here we are on the eve of WWDC, and I'm watching WWDC this year with a vengeance. If Cook and company don't step up and figure out how to fix the problem, they might even lose me. I might even head on over and see what Android is doing, because this is too big of a failure for me to just stand by and not act. I won't allow Apple to turn into just another tech company. And I hate to say it, but that looks like where they're headed. So here we have Apple's botched attempt to apply AI to iOS. And we have three on the landscape, three competitors: Microsoft's Copilot, ChatGPT, and xAI's Grok. Let's share my screen here and see where we can get the most of AI. I'm first going to do a comparison to search. Ken already brought up one of the tenets of AI, in my opinion, is it is now replacing the traditional search engine. Oh, I guess I'm remiss not to bring Google into this conversation in terms of AI. Last week, Google held their Google I/O conference, where they introduced a huge complement of AI tools for the Googler. Google is coming to the table in a big way in terms of their AI. However, they're sort of late to the party, I guess, kind of like Apple is. They just showed up last week. They put some stuff out there that is available now, but it will remain to be seen how well that positions itself in the landscape. Will Google Gemini stand next to ChatGPT, next to Microsoft's Copilot, and next to xAI's Grok and be a competitor? It just remains to be seen. We thought Apple would be in that lineup, but they certainly are not. I'll share my screen now and just give you some real life demonstrations of why you should consider abandoning your search engine. That's right, abandon your search engine and replace it with AI for several reasons. I'll tell you, while I'm pulling this up and sharing my screen, I will tell you my favorite thing about AI, and that is arguing with it. I love to argue with AI. It is, to me, chef's kiss. I just love it. Because, here, I'll move that to the side. Okay. Why do I love to argue with AI? Because I like to push on things. I like to see how deep they go. I like to break things and then put them back together. AI is that for me. I'm having a blast with it. But I just remodeled a bathroom, and I had to go to Home Depot to get glue and roll vinyl. I'm going to replace the floor with roll vinyl, so I just needed glue and roll vinyl. I went to Lowe's and I got stuck. Let me show you what the solution was here in a moment. I'll show you. But before I do that, I'm going to pull that chat up here in a second and show you that. To me, it was very impressive. But what I'll do right now is, since I'm in Las Vegas, I want to show you the thing I've been using ChatGPT for all week here in Las Vegas. I'll show you. It is remarkable to me. I'm staying at the New York, right? And so how to get from New York hotel to a Venetian, like Venetian or the fashion show mall. We'll just do fashion show mall. I'm going to copy that text from Google. I'm just going to copy that. And then I'm going to hit go on Google, and then I'm going to paste that also into ChatGPT. So you can see my two responses here. Let me blow that up a little bit so you can see that. So on the left, I have just what you would expect from Google. On the right, On the right, I have just what you would expect from Google, this over here. It is a Google map showing how to get there, and then it has a list of websites. Look at that list of websites. So before ChatGPT existed, I guess I would click on each one of these websites and really hope that I could scan my eye down that website and find the information I needed. It was a slog to search through all these links here. I'm just tapping all these links, hoping I find some nugget of information on what the best way to get from the New York hotel to the fashion show mall. Look what ChatGPT on the left has already done with the same pasted question from the right, which is Google, to the left, which is ChatGPT. Look at this. Here's the bus route. Here's taxi or ride share. Here's on foot. Here's by monorail. All of these things, and you know what? I want a summary of this. So I'm just going to tell it summarize. I don't want all that information. What think I read? Here we go. There's bullets now. And that's not good enough. I'm standing in the middle of a casino and I want the bus. How do I get to the bus stop? Do I get to the bus stop from New York, New York casino? Now, I'm going to put that same thing into Google. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put that in my search engine here because that's what we're all used to doing is searching with a search engine. And I'll hit enter on both of those and we'll see what we come up with. Get to a bus stop. The closest option is, I don't know. I'm looking on the right there from Google. It's a lot of reading, but look at these walking directions on the left. They're very clear. I'm going to say over here on the left, I want to stop for a coffee. That was on the left there. I'm not even going to type it into Google because it will have no idea what I'm saying. So if I say I want to stop for a coffee, ChatGPT remembers exactly where I'm going because I already told it earlier. It knows I'm going to the Fashion Show Mall. Look at this. It's conveniently listed all the coffee spots inside or near the New York hotel. And it's numbered them too. So I'm going to say number 3. 3. And look, anything you've seen so far, I'm not using any special language. I'm not trying to get ahead of ChatGPT by tricking it with language or anything. I'm just speaking openly. And in fact, I like options 3. So I'm just going to put the number 3. I'm not even going to say I like option 3. How to get there. So I chose option 3, how to get there. Again, we've already left Google behind. We couldn't do this. And Randy, I think you were saying earlier, if I was traveling, I would have ChatGPT glued to my palm. And everywhere I wanted to go, I'd say, how do you get there? Look, this is telling me how to navigate through the casino. ChatGPT is telling me how to navigate through the casino. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't the casino's website. This isn't the casino's app. This isn't Google. This is ChatGPT knowing what the footpath is through the casino to get to where I'm going. Folks, that is not a party trick. That is real utility for anybody who is anywhere that they're unfamiliar with. That is real utility. I want to pause here on this one example. We'll get to several others too. I have some other fun ones. But I want to pause here and just discuss here for a moment. And please, my favorite thing is when you shoot holes in stuff. My favorite thing is when you say, nah, that's not impressive. Watch this. Show me something different. Shoot holes in what I'm saying if you want. But take a look at that. And here, I may just stop sharing here for a moment so I can see you. And then we'll go back. Go back to sharing.
Mary has a question, and then I do.
Okay, let me get to that. Okay, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, did you need to have the premium AI to do all that, or would the regular one do it?
You know, I don't know where premium stops and regular starts, so it's tough for me to answer that question. I do pay $20 a month for ChatGPT, and I do believe that some of the speed I get back from that $20 is what you're seeing there. But I do believe the features are relatively similar. I know that there are, and Al, if you see the comparison between ChatGPT Basic and ChatGPT Pro,
or actually have AI do the comparison.
Yeah, we could even ask it to do the comparison.
It'll come up with a chart.
But yeah, I do pay the $20 a month. I probably would get similar, performance, but I just pay it to support, And I do take it really advanced. One more thing I wanted to say too along those lines. This is an important distinction too. As we're looking at the competitors on the landscape, right? The competitors are, like we've already discussed, ChatGPT, which we just looked at, xAI's Grok, Google's Gemini, and Microsoft's Copilot. If you look at those properties on the horizon, only one of those memorizes everything you tell it, and that's ChatGPT. Even if you're in a different chat, because chats used to be siloed with AI. It used to be that AI only knew what's in that chat. But with ChatGPT, it knows everything from every chat. You can ask it questions from other chats that you've had. You can have it reference things. I love it so much because I've worked so many hours inside AI that I had it give me a professional assessment of how I work. And it was remarkably accurate. It was chilling. In fact, I added some of it to my LinkedIn profile. It was just so good. So ChatGPT memorizes things about you, even dates, anniversaries, whatever the case is. It remembers that stuff. Other AIs don't. And for instance, Grok, every time you open a new chat with Grok, it only understands what's in that siloed chat. It doesn't know all the other things you've discussed with it. So I think that's an important thing to mention. I would not buy into one of these AIs that did not remember everything. To me, that's a massive advantage. If I can just open a chat and say, remember when we were talking about my Etsy store? It would say, oh, yes, I do. That was March 16th. We talked about you opening an Etsy store. Here's that information. No other chat, no other AI will do that right now. And I believe that is a huge competitive advantage for ChatGPT. Okay, any other questions on the board? Or Ken, I think you
Yeah,
might.
myself, and then Elaine. Just a comment and one, and then a question. So I to answer on the free versus pay, a lot of times they limit the amount of inquiries you can do per hour or per day or things like that. That's kind of how they do it. And also, like for instance, ChatGTP 4 is now in the fourth version. Then what they do is they sometimes offer the previous versions,
That's
which
right.
are all of a sudden not bad, and they offer that as a free tier. Um, I used, and you brought up the good example about this. Now in my experience, Grok has remembered things about me, and I'll give you an example, and it blew me away. When I was up in Bend, Oregon, and there was a lunar eclipse, and I asked it to, because I was having mobility issues with the inflammatory disease I had at the time, and
Oh,
so I asked it to search for places where I could see the lunar eclipse that night, knowing it was cloudy and where I could go. And I said, with limited mobility. And it found the spots and did that. And then subsequent searches that I did while I was up there, even if I started a new chat, it would assume limited mobility for me and little things like that. But I'm not saying it was full recall, but it's just those kinds of things you could never do in Google search. And it does that. And it was just flipping amazing. And then and I'm a Grok user, and it's
I
just
was too. I switched because Grok disappointed me in several ways, and I wanted to stay with Grok so bad, but ChatGPT has definitely outrun Grok.
you're using 4.0, it looked like, and that was
Yeah.
a huge step.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean it's and but you know what? It's they're all good, and get into it and use some and get used to it and make it be of value to you, and then that will determine if you want to get the paid version or not. And if you use it enough, you're probably going to go into that direction. But it's just amazing. And it's I it's weird. I mean, just to be able to do that. So, oh, and then all of these keep your history so you can go back to see. That's the problem when you do a Google search. It's like, yeah, I was searching 3 days ago for that, and you try to go find what you were doing, and yeah, it's remember some of it, but you can go back in and you can see your history. But the best thing is you can append this at any time. You could ask, like when I do my train travel directions, I say, give me less connections with less walking, and it figures it out.
I love it. I think the memory of everything is really the key to useful AI. Here, let me ask it to describe me in one short
Uh-oh. Well, and you were
short.
talking about interacting with it. You can tell it to be brutal back to you.
I know, I do. And I'm
Yeah.
brutal to it. I say, hey, I'm going to apologize in advance, but I'm going to hold you to task. I have had ChatGPT and Grok both admit to me that they're incompetent. That was like a triumphant moment for me. I'm like, yes, I've got AI to bow down and
That's kind of
submit to.
like a Turing test for you on artificial intelligence.
Well, there it is. There's the one paragraph assessment of me. Oh, wow. Sharp, high impact systems thinker with a relentless drive to simplify, optimize, and deliver results, whether leading teams, building workflows, or well, I won't read that whole thing, but dang, I like it. Okay, I want to show you another.
We have two questions. Elaine and Dennis
Oh,
have
okay.
questions.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. All right. Let me, no, that's okay. Let me go back to the screen. Go
And
ahead.
I should reiterate, you're with us. You're with the group Saturday, right?
Yes.
And there's going to be lots more time on that, right? I
Oh,
assume.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Go
my
ahead,
question is,
Elaine.
yeah, does $20 a month cover you on all your devices?
Yes. $20 is wherever you're logged in with your account, you can access your premium. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
And look, if you're going to travel, anybody on here who is planning travel, make that the first $20 you spend. Just buy a ChatGPT Premium, and when you're traveling, ask it questions about where you are and what you want to do, and I promise you will get that $20 worth in the first interaction with ChatGPT, the first one. If you're traveling and you need to know what the best way to get from here to there is, the $20 will be fully paid for the first.
And it should be pointed out that on iOS devices, it's actually these are all apps, but on the Mac or on other devices, you can get to them via the browser. Dennis has a question.
Yep. Go ahead.
You're muted, Dennis.
A couple of comments. Perplexity is one you didn't mention, but I get it free with my Comcast
Hmm.
subscription, which is nice. And
Yeah, I'll just say
in
about
a
that
word,
for the audience sake. Sorry. Before you go, I just wanted to say yes. Perplexity is another competitor to ChatGPT. It's a search AI hybrid, and it's very big on analytical details. But yeah, it is definitely. I've used it before, and I actually like it for some things better than other things. But I think that's a great promotion that they give it to you free for Comcast too.
and one of the queries I sent to it was, is there a way in Microsoft Word to have different margins on odd and even numbered pages
It's
to
good at that.
accommodate using the document in a ring binder? And it goes through the mirroring page setup and all that. Just for fun, I asked Copilot this. I copied and
I was
pasted the
going to
same
ask.
query, and it said, "Sorry, I don't understand. Can you rephrase?"
Microsoft's own product. My goodness, that's a shameful moment.
It blew me away. And
Yeah.
I've also used it for to compare if I'm shopping for a car to compare two models,
Oh
and
yeah.
it gave me like a 3-page table of pros, cons, everything. And I asked it about diet for someone facing diabetes.
Well,
Again,
that's
like
another
3 or 4
thing.
pages.
Reach into the drawer and pull out any of your latest medical diagnoses, whether it's just a chart, whether it's a blood draw, whatever. Take a picture of it with your phone and upload it to ChatGPT. Now, scratch out your name if you want to, or fold it so it's not visible or whatever. Just upload that and then start asking it questions about your diagnosis like it's a doctor. It will answer them with medically technically correct answers. Now, obviously, you're not going to use what it says as Bible. You're not going to go, but it is really good at analyzing medical records and giving you its opinion based on what it sees. Now, it'll tell you I'm not a doctor, but I hurt my ankle and uploaded my thing and asked it a bunch of questions. Well, what about this? What if I didn't do surgery? What if I postponed the surgery for a year? It gave me what is plausible responses that I was able to then go research myself. So any of you who have ChatGPT, whether it's paid or free, go grab one of your latest medical things, take a picture of it. It doesn't have to be anything special. Upload it to ChatGPT and say, tell me about this. You'll be blown away at what you find. And that's the same.
And also give you
Oh, go ahead.
additional sources, different places to look, and offer to go there for you.
Yeah, I was irritated. I got my insurance bill and I was irritated that the insurance is higher than I think it should be. I took a picture of my insurance bill for both of my cars and uploaded it. It gave me immediate analysis about what things in my insurance coverage were too high. It said, I don't know why on a truck with 260,000 miles on it, they would put you in this category. Tell them you don't want that anymore. It was amazing to me. I was able to draft an email to my insurance company and send it. And then the next day I was paying $400 a month or $400 every 6 months less because of ChatGPT's advice. It's astonishing what you can get to.
Great
Yeah,
idea.
paid. Another thing I did was gave it all of my financial information. I told it everything. I fed everything in there. I told it exactly where I stand on every financial thing I have. Am I worried about my privacy? I don't know. I don't know. If you're putting your bank information in an app, this is an app too. It's the same. I don't know. It's the same thing. To me, security is just theater. But I didn't put my name in there. I just gave it all this financial information.
Yeah, and you didn't put your account numbers, but you
No.
put the amounts, and that's
Right.
Yeah.
I put all the amounts in there. And then I started asking it questions based on my home's interest, based on my income, based on my credit score. I started asking all these questions about buying land and building a house and what the plausibility is. It would break down for me exactly what the liability would be and what it just, look, it's hard for me to ask stupid questions. I don't want to walk into a financial advisor's office and embarrass myself by asking a bunch of dumb questions. But I was able to tell ChatGPT all my financial statistics and ask it dumb questions because that's what I want to do. I want to ask dumb questions. I want to say, yeah, okay, that all sounds grown up and stuff, but what if I just did this? What if I just took 50 grand and went and bought a thing? I want to know those things. And ChatGPT was able to provide me enough support to make a $50,000 decision. I made a $50,000 decision based on analysis that ChatGPT gave me. Not just analysis, though. I don't accept results very often. I want to push on them. I want to break them down. I want to ask questions. I want to know what this line means. And with ChatGPT, you can do that. It's opened up so many doors for me. I'll show you a couple of other cool examples. Unless there's any other questions, I do have another example to show you.
Nope, none showing.
Okay, so I'm doing the kid's bathroom, the floor. I'm putting roll vinyl down. We're just going for a cheap solution for now until do something later on, a full remodel. And so I went to Lowe's, right?
You're doing vinyl. Make sure you rent a heavy roller.
Okay. Luckily,
No,
this is a tiny
it makes
space.
all the difference in the world.
Okay. Luckily, it's a tiny space, so I may be able to fashion something. But one thing I want to show you here is that ChatGPT allows for you to put things into folders too. So you can see here that I have projects over on the left margin there, and I have personal ideas, work, etc. I have one called DIY. So I'm just going to tap on my DIY folder, and that takes me to a couple of chats I've had with ChatGPT. One of them was, to me, just remarkable. I took a picture of an electronic device and said, what's the best solvent to use to clean this? And it told me. And then I said, here are the solvents I have in my cabinet. It's just because I don't know if isopropyl rubbing alcohol is appropriate for this.
99% too much? Apple recommends 70.
Yeah, I told it. It even recommended something smaller. And I said, well, all I have, it said 70 to 91. And then I said, well, all I have is 99. And it said, oh, that'll work very well, but use it with a bit of care. So it's questions like that I love asking. But here I am standing in Lowe's, okay? And when I lived in California, right across from me was a contractor. I used to build websites for his business, and we just loved each other. I would ask him contracting questions. He would give me the answers. He would need tech help from me. I would give him the tech help. He's gone now. I live in Georgia. So I'm standing in Lowe's, really wishing I could call him. I haven't talked to him in a long time, so I didn't want to call him just to ask him a question. But I'm standing there in Lowe's, and I'm going, my gosh, there's such a huge selection of stuff here. So I took a picture of it in Lowe's. Here's my picture. And I asked ChatGPT, because that was going to be my purchasing decision. I said, is this good for roll vinyl flooring? It says, not ideally. And it told me about a different recommendation. And I saw another one and I said, this one? And it said, no, not that one either. So you know what I did? I took a picture of the whole section. Look at this. I took a picture of this whole section like that. I said, all right, here you go. Look what it told me. It inventoried everything in the photo,
That's
broke
amazing.
down broke down all of it by inventory, and then said, pick this one, the Eco 360 or whatever it was that was right in the photo. So it was this Henry that it suggested. I got it and it worked perfectly. And then I said, what material is best for the vinyl substrate? And it told me materials to avoid. I asked it about MDF because my friend had told me MDF before. It said this is a bad choice under vinyl. These are the
Yeah.
types of things that I believe are where the AI language models of the world will make their money. I took a picture of this. Look, with no other context, I took a picture of this. Now I know what that is. You probably know what that is. Maybe you don't. I took a picture of it and uploaded it, and it says you can replace the toilet flange. Here's how to do it. It even knew that I had to cut out the old toilet flange because it was glued in. It could figure out from this photo that the toilet flange was glued. So it told me the steps to remove the glued toilet flange. And then I said, what do I replace it with? And it said, based on what I see here, it's one of these. And I said, can you give me a Lowe's link? I'm standing inside of Lowe's right now. And it said, sure, and gave me the link, and I bought it right then and there in Lowe's. That is not previously possible without this large language model and with this computational power. You know, you wonder why in NVIDIA stock is going up. They're making the machines that can push all of the computational power needed for AI. So that's the future. I want to show you another example, just incredible, some incredible stuff here. Let me see. There was, it was here, I think. Oh yeah, this was funny. My daughter says today, we're in Vegas. She says, let's get our palm read. I took a picture of my palm and I sent it to ChatGPT and it read my palm. Now, it was remarkably, it's very interesting how close it was to guessing me. So I took a picture of my other palm and sent that, and it was just really amazing. So palm reading, that's another use if you're into that sort of thing. There was a couple of registration lists that I needed compared for something at work, really long registration lists. I could have built some kind of Excel VLOOKUP or something to have those work, but I just pasted them both into ChatGPT and it did all the comparison on the fly. And then one last thing too is like even learning how to use software. I'm learning how to use some software and I'm able to just get in here and ask ChatGPT questions about the software, and it's giving me step-by-step instructions on how to do this stuff, where before you had to try to Google it and figure out on your own where to find the steps and that sort of thing. So let me stop the share here and open it up to some discussion and Q&A at this point. Hopefully what I've done here is brought some simplification. I know that there's a lot of complexity to the things I'm saying, but if we could just recap here, the horizon is starting to pop up with competitors for your money for AI utilities. I think ChatGPT has the lead right now. I loved Grok. In fact, I only referred to AI as Grok because I loved it so much. However, it did get left behind, like you pointed out, Ken, when ChatGPT went to 4.0. I'm sure Grok will leapfrog. I'm sure Grok will ChatGPT. And also, Grok is better at some stuff like coding. It really knows Ruby. It really knows, coding really well. So if you're learning to code or you want lines of code, you go to Grok. Grok also has a slight advantage in reading medical records, but but what I wanted you to know tonight is that these utilities are popping up on the landscape. There's lots of different ones to choose from. My strong advice is to get the free version of ChatGPT and then pay for it if you're finding any utility in it. If you're traveling, $20 to ChatGPT should be your first travel fee. From there, everything else. But pay ChatGPT first if you're traveling anywhere. It will be well worth your $20. And then, yeah, let's open it up to questions or.
Yeah, Mary's got a question, and then I do too about Grok.
And Bob, I think, did I sell Bob? There's that Bob, or no, Al. Oh, that was Al. Yeah, yeah. Pay that $20, Al. You won't regret it. I promise.
Mary, go ahead, unmute yourself.
Right. Can you give it directions verbally?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing I love about it is you can press the talking mode and just go lay it down somewhere. My wife and I do that all the time. It's like we have a question about the dog. The dog is doing something funny. We want to know about it. We'll put the phone down and just both talk to ChatGPT using regular language, and it'll give us all these cool facts about the dog and why she's doing the thing she's doing and how we can soothe her or whatever. It's just like whenever we want to know something, we just set the phone in front of us now, and it's the third person in the conversation who knows everything. It's really remarkable.
And it'll learn what kind of dog you have and everything. The other thing is don't remember, this isn't just like a search. You can have a conversation, and that's kind of weird, but way cool. So
What was kind of so wrong with the Apple version?
it's just not there yet.
Is it just way behind? Is that all?
Well, Apple promised an implementation of AI, but they said from the beginning that it will be a limited implementation. Why? Because AI wants because Apple wants the control. They don't want to cede any ground to another company. They don't want to just allow some other company's AI to now be a marquee feature of their OS. But Apple finds themselves in a tough spot, just like they did with search. They couldn't go build their own search engine, so they stayed out of the business and gave it to Google. Or just like what was the other business that they weren't in that they had to turn over to somebody else? AI is the same thing. And microchips, right? The AI, the processors for all the Apple devices. They used to farm that work out to other companies, but now they do it themselves. Apple's going to have to figure out, do they build their own AI engine and integrate that into the OS, or do they still license? Because Apple always licensed from OpenAI. Everything, let me just listen to this comment. Everything Apple presents to you as AI is licensed by ChatGPT. Every AI feature in iOS right now is a ChatGPT feature that's licensed for Apple. So Apple has made no AI yet. They have a very tiny license for ChatGPT stuff, but they have not implemented it well. I'm very curious in WWDC to see if Apple is going to say, hey, we're going to make our own AI. We're going to implement that into the OS and it's going to be amazing. Or are they going to continue to be drug along by another AI company and continue to pay them licensing for the little bit they get for their OS? It's going to be an ugly battle, but Apple better get it right this time because it's been too long.
So yeah, and there are rumors that they may now bail and go to Gemini, but it's still got to do their own. But anyway, on the Grok thing. So since Grok uses a lot of information from X.com, there what used to be a lag for AI as far as how long before current stuff got searchable and got chattable. Has that complexion changed?
Oh yeah, Randy brought that up, and I forgot to address that. Yeah, and Randy, you said 3 years. I don't even think that's accurate. I think that AI is now real time for most things. Like obviously, AI will say stuff like, I can't guarantee that I know everything about the topic you're asking about since it's an emerging technology or since it's new. But in terms of it knowing things, it knows current events. It knows, like for instance, I have some new electronic devices and the brick.
There's a surprise.
Yeah. You know these black wall warts we've been using for decades, right? It's just a black brick that you plug into the wall and there's a wire coming off of it. Well, if those all go in a bin and get mixed up, you never know what brick goes to what device. Well, I took a picture of the specs on the bottom of every electronic device. It says, here's the specs. So I took a picture of the specs and then I started taking pictures of the specs of the chargers that I had or the wall warts. And it told me, nope, not that one. Nope, not that one. Yes, that is the one. Plug that in. You may use that with this device. So even for stuff like that, where you're not sure which cable goes to which device or something, take a darn picture of it and ask ChatGPT. And the last thing I'll say is there is a camera mode now too, where like Mary asked, not only can you talk to it and have a conversation, it can see where you are. It'll describe what you're looking at. It'll tell you what it thinks about your environment and how You know, it can answer questions about what it's seeing. So you can just hold the phone, it'll look, and you can ask it questions about what you're seeing. The other day, we wanted to know the model of a car. So I pointed my camera at it and said, "What kind of car is this?" And it told me on the first try, I got it. So yeah, amazing things happening. Lean in there, go get ChatGPT, go download the app, get yourself a free account, play with it, pay $20 if you're brave. I promise you, especially if you're traveling, you won't regret that.
And you can cancel after a month if you want. It's
Oh
not
yeah,
they're not keeping you in perpetuity, but
no
it
contracts.
should be compelling enough that you want to pay that every month.
It is for me. I'm in.
We want to report back from Randy because he's going to use it for his December trip.
I'm really curious,
Down.
Randy. I'd love to hear about how you used it. I think you'll master it on that trip and come back with some good news.
Yeah, and you'll find as the more you use it, the more you'll find uses for it.
And tell it things. You know what? Poke at it. You know, say, hey, you're not getting this right. Ask me questions if you need clarification, and it'll say, okay, tell me these things so I can get this right. Argue with it, push
And
back.
like an example, if it recommends some restaurants, say, no, I like these kinds of restaurants, and it remembers that, and so therefore it cuts through all that crap. You're not having to redo all that preliminary stuff.
Yes.
Again, go back to my whole thing with I was couldn't have a lot of I was mobility limited, and it took it. So anyway, that's Pete. That's fantastic, and I think it'll be a dive in. Oh, we got Randy's got his hand up, so go ahead, Randy.
On the travel, Ken has done some great presentations, as you have also, Pete, in regards to like Google Travel and Google Flights. Would this be able to replace like Google Flights to kind of find the most current, best
Oh,
travel?
1,000%. 1,000%. It's really
Yes.
good at tracking flights. It's really good at giving you alternatives. It's all of that. I would replace any other app with ChatGPT when it comes to travel.
And the other thing is, make sure you say the dates and put that in. For instance, like with photography, I was doing a Milky Way up at Lake Tahoe, and it even reached out and got a cloud forecast for me and all that because I had locations. So it thinks of that, and then if something like that comes up, dig into that part a little deeper. Fantastic.
Fun stuff.
It's a great time to be alive.
Until the robots come with the AI programming to come. I asked ChatGPT, I said, okay, they weaponize you and mobilize you. What's the first thing you do? You know what it told me? It said, come to your house and pick you up so you can tell me where we're going. I said, okay, cool. At least I'm on their good side for now.
Al's got a question, and don't forget you need to plug in your iPad or iPhone, whatever it was. You were really low.
Yes, I do. Yep, I'm low.
Al?
Quick question, Pete. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you had marginal internet connection and it impact any of your queries?
Yeah, good question, Al. Yeah, both that and with Grok, it fills up. Once you reach a particular capacity, that particular chat slows way down. So yes, two things to look out for are: one, it is only as strong as your internet connection, and it does require a fairly robust signal. It does a lot of I/O, so it's not. So I have run into that before, and yeah, with Grok, not ChatGPT, but with Grok, I know that I have filled up a chat so full that querying that chat would take forever, and I just abandoned it. It was just too much info. That was an event I was doing at work. I kept feeding it all the info for the event so I could ask it questions about the event whenever I wanted to. I fed it so much info though, it just couldn't move along anymore.
What about
on
a battery impact?
chats? On a lot of chats, there's a deep search function too,
Yeah.
and it will take longer, but it also not only takes longer, but there's a lot more bandwidth being used. But if regular search doesn't do it for you, the whole idea there, it's trying to be quick for you. A deep search can take up to 3 minutes, and it'll source many more sources and dig deeper.
Deep search is ridiculous. Deep search is like hiring 4 people for one day to research something for you. When I clicked deep search, it came back with almost a full like business report about what I was asking about. It was breathtaking. So yeah, if you are on premium and you see that deep search button and you want to play with that, check it out. And it will show you its thinking. It blew me away. I read along with what it was thinking about. It kept saying, okay, user is asking for this. What they really must mean is this. So we'll give them this, but not that. It was just amazing while you can read along with its thinking. Very cool stuff. Okay, well, I hear those casino tables calling me, so I think I will
and
let
the
you do the
raffle tables
raffle.
are calling our members. So
Yes, yes, I'll let you do that. But thank you
great
very much for
job,
having
Pete.
me. Looking forward to
Thank you.
seeing you
Thank you.
Saturday.
Thank